Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another Monday Mindfulness. Today I am adding some details to some feathers that I printed on the gel plate. So this is a handful of them, and I am not going to show you the whole process, just some of the moments that were a little more meaningful and just added some nice detail to these feathers. Now I do not have the process for the actual gel printing. I just didn't think to turn my camera on at that point, but yeah, this is pretty fun anyway. So I have most of this sped up times 2, times 3 in some places, as I typically do, because when I practice my mindfulness through art, it's usually a long session. And so even though this video is almost 10 minutes, it represents over 2 hours. And this is just the detail piece. It's not actually the gel plate pulls. So there are other videos online. If you're interested in looking at those, I'll try to link some downstairs just for those who might be interested. You can also do a search, of course, and I'll try to do one in the future. But for today, it's just about adding the details. So I'll just give you a little bit of an overview, and then we're just going to let the music play. So you can see that most of the stamp or the feathers have some kind of something on them. Either it's a stamp or a stencil, and it's pulled off the plate like I'm doing here. And I'm taking just some wet paint, kind of rolling it out on the on the gel plate, and then dipping bits and pieces of the feather just to have some controlled contrast, some extra colors and textures and things like that. And I'm not looking for perfection, as I typically don't anyway, but especially during a mindfulness. So from time to time I might pop in and just mention something that's going on the screen. Otherwise, I just encourage you to take some deep breaths, get comfortable, find that place where you're non-judgmental of yourself, of me, of this process, and kind of set aside the worries of the day and all those kinds of things just for a few minutes if you're able, and just enjoy the process. If you have any questions that I don't answer, go ahead and list them downstairs, and I'll meet you in the comments and I'll answer them as to the best of my ability. Let me say it that way. All right, guys, so for now, I am going to tap out, and I'll see you again soon. Something to think about if you're going to do this, or really any kind of gel plate printing, is contrast. So if you are printing on something dark, you'll want to use maybe some light paints or medium, and if you're doing it on something light, then of course you want to use some dark, and just use some contrasting colors just to have a nice effect. So you may have noticed that some of my feathers, once I pulled them or pulled away with the technique that I was trying to do, didn't have a whole lot of impact, and that's because there wasn't enough contrast. I'm okay with it because up close you can still see it. It may not all show well on the camera, but you know how I am. I don't sweat much. So yeah, let's get back to it. See, that was case in point. The pink one has very little pattern that you can see, but the green ones, the darker ones, you can definitely see that lighter paint. And I am absolutely loving the pops of black on all of these feathers, even the dark ones. I just love it. So we've done gel plate printing, we've just done some ink smushing, so to speak, paint smushing. We've done stenciling, we've done actual stamping, and now we're going to do some splatter. As you can see, I'm just using my Posca pens, just smacking them around, getting some more of that black contrast on all of them. And I'll even do some smushing, if you will, into the paint that's left on the table, as you can see. Now there are some of the feathers that I only did the pull on one side, and I may ultimately go back and do the other side, but for now I just found a stopping point, and that's where it was. Some of them have both sides done and some of them do not. And that little pile of pink and black, that's where I had to kind of prime the paint pens. You push it in and then the paint starts to flow, and so those are puddles that I did not want to go to waste. So here are some of the finished ones. Again, it's not all of them, but it's just kind of an up-close look. You can see some of them are done on both sides. Now guys, let me know if you have a favorite of any of these, if any of them stand out to you as being like, wow. I mean, the process is just amazing, and I have to say I learned this process first from Birgit Koopsen, and if you have been with me for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about Birgit and being inspired by her and her techniques before. She's not the only one to do feather printing, but she's who I learned it from first, so. I have several of these that are kind of favorites. Now people have asked me what I'm going to do with these in the end, and what I hope to do is make kind of a mobile or an art hanging out of them to hang over the treatment chair in my office at work. See, that one only has one side done. And some of these feathers I actually picked up at the beach on a couple different trips down to the North and South Carolina coast with my friends, and others I've purchased from the craft store. So here's some more up close ones, up close photos. Y'all tell me what you think. Have you done this before or seen this before? Is it something you think you might do? Do you think you could do it and maintain a non-judgmental stance? And just allow the art to run its course, to do its thing. It's so pretty. The different details, all the layers. And I think this one might actually be my absolute favorite. Even though it has very little color and it's very subtle. I love that one. That you can see the mandala stamp on. That chevron stencil is really cool. Alright guys, so this has been Nancy, the Handy Scandy, back with another Monday Mindfulness. This time adding details to gel printed feathers. I'll meet you guys downstairs in the comment. If you would like and subscribe and all the good things, I would appreciate it. And until next time, I'm out.